It's a stormy day in the Welsh village of Pontypandy, where Charlie is busy doing some work in the lighthouse. He decides to insult the light by calling it silly. There is now a thunderstorm, and the thunderstorm opens the door of the lighthouse. Charlie is clinging onto the door, and then he is clinging onto the lighthouse while calling Fireman Sam, because he's the only one to call when there's trouble. We then get the title for the movie, The Great Fire of Pontypandy, while we see a picture of Norman stuck on a cliff. And it turns out Norman fell into the sea in the intro. The firemen arrive, and Fireman Sam is the only one that can rescue Charlie, because apparently he's the only one that can rescue you from anything. The storm is very big, and Fireman Sam has to, well, who knows? I don't know what's going on. Elvis is in the fire truck. And the next day, apparently Officer Boyce is at the fire station. Norman and Mandy are watching, and apparently Officer Boyce thinks he's quote-unquote better than Fireman Sam, which is an insult to the show's name because apparently Fireman Sam is the main character. Apparently Mike is fixing a propeller when Brodwin comes over. Mike is on the roof, and then all of a sudden he jumps onto the roof, and then he falls into the sea just like Norman on his go-kart. Apparently Mike is also a bit careless like Norman, so guess who we have to call now? Again, Fireman Sam, for the second time. The firemen are on their way to save the day, like always. They rescue Mike, and Mike decides to get cracking with his other jobs. Fireman Sam tells Penny that Chief Officer Boyce offered him a station officer post in Newtown because, well, apparently Steele's not going to be known as Station Officer Steele anymore. Fireman Sam is going to be Station Officer, and Steele will just be known as Fireman Steele. Trevor arrives and mentions that tomorrow he's going to take the Pontypandy Pioneers camping in the forest. Oh, that will definitely work out great without Norman around. We then cut to a scene where Norman and his cousin, who stole Jupiter, Derek, are in Delicious shop. They are getting ready to get camping, as if they don't know that Norman's going to burn the whole forest down. The two kids think that Dillis is being mean, laughing at them, which, honestly, Norman is an arsonist and brats get consequences. Trevor, the bus driver, comes along and tells Dillis that they're spending time at the forest. The Pontypandy Pioneers are going for their survival badge. Their survival badge about surviving in the forest where there's a massive fire that Norman just caused. When no one is looking, Norman proceeds to sneak some sausages into the bag like a sneaky person. Just like what he did to the frozen fish in that Hurting the Whale episode. Steele was looking at a page where he was younger. It's extremely hot and dry at the forest, and Fireman Sam decides that they are going to put some warning signs up at the forest. The Pontypandy Pioneers are in the forest, as if they don't think Norman's going to burn the whole place down. Trevor struggles to get the pole up for the tent, while a fly is buzzing around the tent. Dillis gets the pole in right, and Norman gives her a thumbs up, while this pesky spoilt fly is being rude by being a fly and annoying Trevor. Trevor says that some berries can be dangerous. Everyone says that they're quote-unquote, well, gonna eat creepy crawlies like on the TV. A fly is acting spoiled, as usual, while Elvis and Sam are putting danger signs around the forest. For 1, the heat, and 2, in case of Norman committing arson and nearly burning down Pontypandy. Elvis says that Station Officer Steele has got a medal because he's a hero. Meanwhile, Mike is out, trying to fix a lighthouse, while Mandy is absolutely throwing a tantrum because she's been impatient, and Helen decides to scold Mike. But before Mandy was throwing an impatient tantrum, Mike is on the lighthouse, and the only problem is his phone is in the car. And if you want to see a clip of Mandy's tantrum, I'll show it to you.
It's not like your dad not to answer.
He's probably too busy helping someone else.
Now, Mandy. It's your dad's job.
But he doesn't have time for me anymore. We don't play football or go on picnics. It's just work, work, work.
James obeys Trevor's orders when he tells him to pass a stick. Well, he throws the stick up at a branch. Apparently, there is a trap on that tree. The kids fear the worst. That mice or insects or anything else will be caught in Trevor's trap. Which, isn't that the whole point? Apparently, Derek has a pet mouse. Apparently, Sam asked Trevor not to make a fire. And do you think Norman's going to obey? Well, is he A, going to obey, or B, going to disobey? Whoever chose B is correct. He whispers to Derek that they'll disobey Fireman Sam and act like the naughty arsonists they are. The helicopter, or Tom, is in the helicopter looking for a fire. Well, later he will find a massive fire that Norman's going to cause at the end of the movie. Oh no, I guess Norman and Derek disobeyed Fireman Sam like the sneaky little masters of disaster they are. Norman, being the master of disaster, decides to make a fire in the bushes with sausages. Dillis interrupts them rightfully, not rudely, and then they decide to lie to her like the naughty brats they are. And they're having, well...
Hey, waiting! We were having you know what? No, I don't know what. Oh, it's all the water we've been drinking, Auntie Dillis. Oh, you're having a tinkle.
Everyone is helping Trevor find something to eat, while Norman, on the other hand, is not helping Trevor, on the other hand, find something to eat. Oh no, this is the moments before disaster happened. Mike is still on the lighthouse, and he left his phone in the car. But we still can't forget Norman leaving the fire unattended in hot summer weather. Mandy is getting annoyed by a spoiled bratty little fly. Helen gets trapped in Trevor's trap. And now we have to call Fireman Sam for the third time in this movie. Everyone has to rescue Helen like the fireman and woman they are. Of course they have to rescue Helen because this wouldn't be a Fireman Sam episode or movie without Fireman Sam to the rescue. That's the whole point of the show. Also, everyone is in the forest, like I said. And do you think Norman is just going to, realize that he's caused a fire? Well, while the fire is unattended, the pioneers are in the forest and Trevor is playing a song on his ukulele while everybody is sitting down. Trevor is singing the song about the pontypandy pioneers. Anyway, that's how the song goes. We're brave and strong and we're the good old pontypandy pioneers. Apparently, Dillis can smell the fire. Oh, this is the moments before disaster warning. This fire is going to nearly burn down the town. And just to let you know, I accidentally clicked on a Llama Llama video and that's why the Llama Llama red pajama book picture was there. Dillis is starving. While Mike is still on the lighthouse, the firemen and Tom are looking at the lighthouse. And do you think they're also going to look at this massive fire that Norman caused?
Storm coming.
Yes, I think you're... Hey, look at the lighthouse.
Isn't that where Mike is?
The firemen are trying to guess what's happening in the forest, and then they realise that there is a forest fire. I wonder who caused that. Maybe it's the brattiest arsonist on planet Earth. The firemen rescue Helen from the trap while Trevor is getting annoyed by a spoiled little fly. Everyone has to keep together because of this massive great fire that's going to nearly destroy the whole town. Norman and Derek feel ashamed of what they've done. And apparently whenever Norman does something bad, he's always ashamed, like the time where he knocked his mom out. Elvis is also in the forest because apparently he saved Helen and Mandy. Or just Helen. He can't even breathe because of this massive fire that Norman caused, and now we can see that the fire keeps growing and spreading from tree to tree to tree to tree. And keep in mind, this is all because Norman wanted some sausages in the first place. Everyone is walking through the forest, and the smoke is so bad that everyone decides to call Fireman Sam. And apparently, Elvis has to call the fire brigade again. But this time it's pretty reasonable because apparently he's in the forest and there's nothing of his that can put the fire out. Everyone is going to save the day for the 4th time. I was counting the amount of times they have to save Pontypandy. The fire is extremely big and it's not just going to nearly destroy the whole forest, it's going to destroy the whole town of Pontypandy. Everyone is out of the forest, And I guess Norman and Derek are going to be in a lot of trouble after this movie. Everyone keeps struggling to put out this massive fire. Oh, look, that's how big the fire is. It looks like a cloud. Wait. Is it a cloud? This fire is the size of 1 million cars. Or 1 million fire trucks. Now, everyone has to evacuate the town that was once known as Pontypandy, but not anymore. The town is going to be called Burnt Pontypandy now. Everyone tries to evacuate the town of Pontypandy, that was once known as Pontypandy, and then everyone jumps into their vehicles and they have to evacuate because they're struggling to put out this fire that Norman caused. Everyone is crying because they have to say goodbye to their favourite town that was known as Pontypandy. The fire is towering above the town, almost, and then Norman's pet sheep, Wooly and Lambkins, and the fire dog Radar are there. And even Norman is upset to evacuate. Fireman Sam drops the paper that Officer Boyce gave him, and then he realizes that there's a rainstorm coming. The rain is the only thing that can put out this massive great fire of Pontypandy. The rain, which is the only thing in this movie that can actually put out this massive fire that Norman caused, decides to put out this great fire of Pontypandy, and apparently everyone is now saved and are dancing. Yay, the fire is put out. Everyone is happy to be back in the town that is now known as Pontypandy again, when Norman ends up throwing his bag onto the floor like a doofus when Radar reveals what caused this whole movie to be existing in the first place. Apparently, everyone realizes that Norman Price was the one behind this great fire, and then Dillis and Steele lose it.
What on earth's that? Sausages?
I think we're the ones who need saving now.
So that's why you could smell sausages! Were you cooking in the bushes, Norman?
You made a campfire? Oh, Norman Price, you...
Come on, put this gingerhead master of disaster in his place.
Yeah.
Dillis quote-unquote angrily says to Norman for the first time in her life that she's quote-unquote gonna deal with him at home, which we never see on camera. Officer Boyce is talking to Fireman Sam, and they're proud that Pontypandy is now known as Pontypandy again. Everyone is proud that Pontypandy is saved, thanks to the rain. Fortunately, Norman and Derek don't get their badges, because if it's Norman and Derek, then they don't get their badges. Norman and Derek keep arguing about whose fault it was, and it turns out that they're both at fault. Mike is back in Pontypandy, and, well, it looks like Trevor's bus also looks like it was burnt. I hope Norman isn't the one behind this. Everyone is glad to be back in the town that was once known as Pontypandy, while Officer Boyce and Station Officer Steele are arguing about who's the station officer. Just like Norman and Derek, who would in real life be spending up to 15 years in prison for arson. Fireman Sam ends up getting his Medal of Bravery, and as for Norman, he doesn't even get his badge. Everyone is dancing along and singing a song, while Norman, well, I don't know what's going on with him, but now that's the end of the movie. And don't believe me? Well, then, let's review. Norman and Derek spend the episode or movie being complete masters of disaster by sneaking in some sausages, and later on in the episode, nearly burning down the whole of Pontypandy and nearly having all the townspeople to evacuate. Unfortunately, Norman didn't get arrested or grounded, but we never actually see Dillis deal with her son on camera at home. But Norman wasn't the only brat in this episode, as we can also take the blame on Mandy for acting like a brat and being impatient. So, for being impatient, Mandy can take a hike, and of course, for stealing sausages and showing people a sign that you're the worst brat ever, Norman and Derek can both take a hike. Thanks for watching that review of the movie, everyone. You saw how bad Norman was, and unfortunately he didn't even get trouble for his bad actions. This just shows to you how bad of a brat he is. But thanks for watching, everybody. Hope you enjoyed that video. Until next time, it's Gavin about brats, and I'll catch you in the next brat commentary video. Bye.